had Nico over for movies again last weekend, and we watched Kung Fu Panda. But that's meh, whatever. And uh, made dinner again, and I decided to make something out of this because this book is awesome. And I made these. They're called mushroom, beef, and onion hand pies. But I replaced the mushroom with potato because ew, mushrooms, disgusting. I'm obviously not a hobbit, so I'm not going to be eating mushrooms. And these turned out pretty well. There was not enough dough in the short crust to make the pies themselves, all of them, at least not to use all the stuff. But the leftover filling made very excellent dinners for a couple nights. But the fun part was when I decided to make these, the apple hand pies. And right here in this recipe, it calls for 8 large tart apples peeled, cored, and diced small. So I got 8 apples. They're not really large, they're just galas, and I really like them. They're really good apples, especially when you get them from Moors. They're amazing. They're perfect apples. Daddy would hate them. Mum would hate them. I think they're perfect. But so I cut up and cored these apples and then realized afterwards, oh shoot, I was supposed to peel them. So I spent an hour peeling and dicing apples into very little bits. There's a picture of them, or it fills the bowl, and 8 apples fills a bowl, like completely pushed, completely compressed. Like this is, yeah, and it was a lot of apple. There are 8 apples, and I made the dough, and I made a whopping great 8 muffins out of them. And then I ran out of dough. And I still had about 5 apples left of filling. So, I think I used maybe 3/8 of the apple filling that I'd made. So now I had this enormous bowl in the fridge, an enormous bowl of itty bitty apple bits that are completely covered in butter and cinnamon and allspice because I didn't have any nutmeg and a bunch of other things and honey, and what am I supposed to do with all of that? So I made apple bread, and then I ate it all, and then I made more apple bread, and then I made another round of dough, and I made more apple pie things to turnovers this time, and they turned out a lot better. I didn't egg wash them, sadly, so they're not as pretty, but they did not make nearly as much of a mess in the oven as the apple pies the first time I did, but they were still really, really good, and I can understand why they're called hen pies, and it says in here, they can be enjoyed either as a hearty vegetarian breakfast or as a durable tea time treat capable of keeping their shape after bumping around in your back for a few days. In your pack for a few days, which I can attest to because that dough, because you make it with warm butter, not cold butter. Okay, but it says, let's see here. Cold butter makes for a flaky crust, but there were no refrigerators in the Shire. Furthermore, while flaky crusts are delicious, pastries made from them would shed all over your pack, which would be very messy and very bad. If you want a solid hand pie that can stand up to some abuse without emptying its contents all over your pack, stick with a solid foundation of room temperature butter. So I used room temperature butter, and those pies were very solid. Could have just stuck them in the bag, so a little gooey, and the tops might have come off because I didn't seal them very well. But they're very solid, but still very, very good.